Hi, I'm Alex Torres, and today I'm going to be giving a brief overview and history of one of my clans from the Highlands. I'm descended from the McKay clan, and I'm going to first go through the origins of the clan. Then I'm going to go into some historical significance, and then I'm going to try to link it together to my own family history that I know, what I know, where my family came from Scotland, and how they came over to Canada, and then I'm going to finish. So the history of the McKay clan, or the McKay clan as it's originally supposed to be pronounced, it's debated, but most accurately, according to the McKay Society of Canada, it links back to a couple of brothers who came over from Ireland in 335 AD. At that time, Western Scotland, the Hebrides, and what is really known today as the Highlands, the heart of Gaelic Scotland, was part of a Scottish-Irish Gaelic kingdom called Dal Riata, and it was the first Gaelic kingdom in Scotland of the original Gaels who came over from Ireland to settle in Scotland. So the McKays McKay brothers landed in Scotland, and they married into the Pictish family Macketh, and this is where we think we first see the clan start as we know it today. Again, it's been debated that it's just a descendant line of Macketh, but it is most commonly seen today as a combination of the two families. The McKays are also closely related to the Morgans, and it's also a topic of debate of who came first, the Morgans or the McKays. Now, it would be most likely that the McKays came first if it was a direct descendancy of the Pictish Mackeths, but if it was descended from the brothers from Ireland, as the legend says, then it leads more credence to the idea that the Morgans may have came first. The fact of the matter is, as it stands today, the Morgans and the McKays are very closely related. Other septs of the McKay clan are Allen, McGee, McKay, without the A, it's an anglicized version, Nielsen, Nelson, Pohl, and even Williamson. Now, no matter what the origin of the clan and whether the Morgans came first or not, it is a fact that they did fight alongside the Mackeths and were very closely related to the Mackeths. And in 1160, after a defeat of the Mackeths by Malcolm IV of Scotland, the McKays were dispersed after this battle. Many moved northwards towards Orkney and Caithness, which is actually where my branch of the McKays are from. I'll get into that later. But many others spread around the east and the west, and leading to many different factions, such as the Aberach McKays, the Scourie McKays, and the infamous Strathi McKays, which, again, I think that's originally where I'm descended from. So after the defeat of the Mackeths and the dispersal of the McKays, many went north, especially to Strathnever, which is now most commonly known as the seat of the McKay clan, usually led by the Lord of Strathnaver. Now, the McKays were fought in many different wars. The first, where the McKays were very well known for their fighting, was at the Battle of Largs during the Scottish-Norwegian War. It was the most important battle of the war as well. In 1263, when the Scots slaughtered many Norwegian men on the western shores of Scotland near the island of Moray. After that, in 1314, is when the Mackays come up again in the Battle of Bannockburn, where they fought under Robert the Bruce against the English in the First War of Scottish Independence. It was a significant crushing of the English and led to the eventual Scottish victory in that war. After these wars, the Mackays were very well known in such other wars as the clan civil wars, which wasn't so much a single war as many different feuding clans who would enter war within the Scottish kingdom. And also, the Mackays distinguished themselves in many wars, such as the 30 Years' War, where they fought in the Anglo-Scottish army against the Germans and many other states. They also fought in the English Civil War, which was not just an English battle, but over all of Britain, which England ruled at the time, more or less. There was a split up among the Mackays at this time. Many wanted to follow the king out of habit because he was the king of Scotland. You were supposed to follow him. But eventually, when it seemed that the Commonwealth was taking over in England, and William the Orange came from the Netherlands to establish order, they quickly allied themselves with William of Orange. This then led to a rapid conversion of Mackays to Protestantism, which eventually led them to fight with the government during the Jacobite uprisings, when Bonnie Prince Charles tried to restore the Stuart monarchy in Britain. So, in the Jacobite uprisings, the Mackay were very key in the government army, especially at the Battle of Glen Shiel, where the government army, which had used a two-prong attack, and the right flank and the left flank, and tried to go around surrounding the Jacobite and Spanish army which had landed in Scotland. The Mackays were integral to the right flank with a regiment called the Mackay Regiment, because there's so many Mackays fighting for the government. They formed the right flank and were key. If the Mackays hadn't fought as bravely as they had in the battle, the Jacobites probably would have won that battle. But the Mackays held the right flank, and it allowed the government to win the battle in the end. Eventually, the Mackay Regiment kind of fell after the Jacobite Revolution. They were used mainly by the British to subdue the Irish in Ireland. The Mackays were used to enforce the English rule in Ireland for a long time, and they became feared among the Irish. And even today, you can see a lot of Mackays in Ireland. The clan isn't originally from Ireland, because, as I said before, it is most probably descended from the Picts. So if you find a Mackay in Ireland, they're most probably a descendant of the Mackay Regiment. Now, if you're wondering why a distinguished Highland clan would fight against the Jacobites, who many see as the righteous side in this conflict, the pro-Highland against Anglicization side. Well, the Mackays were under the belief, according to Dr. Ian Prince, who has written extensively about the Mackay clan, he says that the Mackays were afraid of Prince Charles. They thought that he was only doing, he was only rising the Jacobites for his own prestige and his own power. They saw the Stuart monarchy fall, and that it led to a great civil war. So they saw that the Stuarts were a weak monarchy, and they would not help the Highlands. They would actually hurt the Highlands and let the English take over, which was kind of ironic, because in the end the Mackays ended up fighting for the English, and as a result of battles such as Culloden and Glen Shiel, the Statutes of Iona were put in place, which banned the tartan, the playing of the pipes, and anything that the English could see as warlike. And these Statutes of Iona are really what has destroyed the Highlands today. And the Mackays fought for the Statute of Iona, thinking that it would actually help the Highlands, not knowing what the real plan of the English was. Mackays also became very distinguished in colonial wars, such as Ticonderoga, which was led by William Mackay, even though, as we know, it ended up as a complete disaster. It was led by Mackay. The Mackays are also recipients of several Victoria Crosses, including various awarded to Mackays who served in the Sepoy Mutiny in India, and many who fought in the First World War and Second World War. The Mackays distinguished themselves as a very powerful and valuable asset in the military, and were known as great fighters. Now, many say that's because they were descended from Orcadians, which many, even in Scotland, see as savages. But it led to the clan becoming known as very tough and willing to fight for a cause. So, where do I fit into all this? Well, as far as I've traced back my family, with the help of my grandmother, Susan Mackay, or McKay as she's known now, the name's been anglicized since the family's moved to Canada. The family can be traced back to Thurso in Caithness in northern Scotland. It's right on the very, very top, the very, very tip. And so I looked through the Mackay history, and it looks like all the way back to the 1400s, the Mackays were living in Orkney and Strathnaver, sorry. So the Strathie Mackays, as they were known from Strathnaver, for one reason or another, most likely it seems as an act of aggression, invaded the Guns and the Keiths who were living around Thurso in Caithness. The Mackays invaded under the leadership of Angus Dow Mackay, who was the chieftain of the Mackays at the time, and it was actually very much a destruction of the Mackay forces at first in 1426 at the Battle of Harpsdale, actually right outside of Thurso. The son of the clan chief, Neil Mackay, was imprisoned at Bass Rock, and he was forever known after that as Neil Bass Mackay, because of that lengthy imprisonment. But as soon as he was released from Bass Rock, he raised another army of Mackays and invaded again, this time in vengeance for the killing of his father. And the Mackays went into Caithness again, and at the Battle of Ruaghansett, or known as the Sandside Chase, the Mackays met the Guns at a beach, and it was really a lopsided battle, and that's why it's known as the Sandside Chase, because it was really the Mackays chasing the Guns down a stretch of beach. And they chased them out of Caithness, and the Mackays then settled in Thurso, which is where I've been able to trace my family to. So it looks like my family are originally from Strathnaver, and before that Orkney, and they settled in Thurso